Tim Roth.
Yeah, Heidecker is the easy one.
Yeah.
What other Tims do we have? I was trying to think if there was a Tim in Berserk, but I don't think there is.
I mean, as Canadians, Tim Horton was a average hockey player. I think. I don't think he was really that great.
A better businessman, I guess, like a franchisee.
Yeah, he turned whatever like social capital he had into a donut chain. And that was kind of the mainstay coffee place for Canadians until something. I think Burger King bought it. They started getting different beans, and then everybody switched to McDonald's. So, yeah.
Okay. I don't know if some of that was like joking because it's Wendy's that bought it. The Tim Hortons Wendy's combos, right? Everywhere.
I thought it was Burger King though.
It might be is it? What the hell is it called? Like Good Food Inc. or something? What's the mother company for that?
No, we were talking about the Wendy's Tim Hortons combination because we have two near us, but they're like in the same parking lot. But it's just like, why don't they just become one of those combo ones that has both?
Yeah.
But I don't know. They just haven't. Anyway, this is obviously the Berserk podcast. We always talk about Canadian restaurants at the beginning. It's a long tradition here in our 31st episode. I've only been around for like half of them. But I'm a usurper, I guess. Just like Griffith. You know,
just like Griffith.
Yeah, climb the ladder. My name's Nathan. And we're here to talk about Volume 33, which I'm assuming is also 2007, right?
Oh, yeah, I have to bring that up because, like, I wasn't really prepared.
I think you said it was late in 07 was the last one, so we might even
November of 07 was the last one, yeah.
Yeah, so I bet this was 2008. This one looks like it's took some drawing.
Yeah, so. I think, like... I guess spoiler alert for the time stuff before I announce them or whatever we're doing. But I think they're all a year after each other, basically.
Damn.
Yeah, this is October 2008.
Wow, these are like annual things, hey?
They are annual, yep.
So you can't really like trust on Mira to get you through your commute on the train. You're going to have to start reading One Piece or something.
Like, it's weird because that's as of now. There was a time where there was just a giant break, I think, from them.
Okay. Well, you know, he's busy.
They were much more plentiful, actually. Some years had 2 full, like, runs.
Okay.
Back in, like, the early 2000s and late 90s. So,
I guess this is a collection. So, yeah, like, the individual issues might have been coming out every couple
like every week or something. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, we're picking up right from where we were with like ethereal forms flying around on the ship, like luminous forms, I guess, of Shirka and Farnese.
Yeah, we were wrong, just straight up. They're not looking at Farnese and they're not looking at their spirits. They're looking overboard because Casca's like about to jump off the ship for some reason.
Yeah, like as much credit I was giving the last one where it's like, oh, thank goodness we don't get any Casca like stuff. We get tons of that right away. She does one big one right at the beginning, and she's climbing out onto like the mast or whatever, or the fore, you know, the thing where Kate Winslet and like Leo stand, the very tip.
Is that not the mast?
Ship. Well, I always think the mast is like where the sail is, like the center thing.
Yeah, you're right.
And I apologize for making fun of Casca's voice. It's capital A's and U's, and I don't know how you pronounce that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's actually, it reminds me of the Home Improvement kind of, it's like that. That's what she's doing. I guess it's
the stern, right?
Sure.
Oh, it's actually called a bowsprit.
The bowsprit. That's where she's standing.
The bowsprit is a sailing vessel is a spar extending forward from the vessel's prow. It's typically held down by a bobstay that counteracts the forces from the forestays.
There you go.
So and you sometimes used to hold up a figurehead, the figurehead.
And this ship does have one. It's a horse. Yeah,
it's a seahorse, but not a seahorse as we know them.
That's right. It's just a horse, but then it's a boat, so it's the seahorse.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, you're right. I guess Casca wasn't seeing ghost things flying around, and Guts was mostly concerned with her welfare or whatever. But yeah, Roderick kind of comes up and is saying like, "So what's your guys' deal? Like, what is she to you?" And
yeah,
Guts
it's one of those
pauses.
ones like it's hard to explain.
It's like, well, I guess she's, and then right when he's about to say, I guess, both luminous forms of Shirka and Farnese kind of fly back to their bodies. And Farnese kind of wakes up suddenly and is kind of like flustered. And then Shirka's kind of like, hey, what's wrong? It's like, just, I'll be okay. I guess this is kind of each of them having a jealousy attack or something with Casca.
There's a weird, like, everybody wants to fuck Guts thing going on. And, like...
He's just so cool. He's like James Dean. He doesn't say anything.
Listen, I kind of get it because he's the protagonist and all Japanese, like, stuff does this where, like...
And he's got, like, the thickest muscles on his neck. You know?
Every girl has to, like, fawn over the, like, main protag. I get it. But,
I guess, yeah.
I don't know. There's something supremely weird about it when it comes from Shirke specifically.
Yeah, because in my head she's like 13 or something. It's weird. It's strange, but she's magical. But I don't know.
And it's like a schoolgirl crush, I assume.
Yeah, but yeah, they each kind of process that in different ways. Like Shirka kind of thinks about it and is kind of like, you know what? It's okay. We have like our own special magical thing. That's fine.
It's weird because she literally says like our ethereal beings like overlapped or something. It's like that's weirdly sexual in this context too. I don't like that. It's like yeah, he might fuck Casca, but our ethereal like beings ghosts melded.
Were attached, so pretty intimate.
It's kind of fucked up. Yeah.
And then like okay, I guess before we get to the Farnese reaction, Casca just keeps like retreating and falls off the ship into the ocean.
I don't know how to read this. Like I know she was kind of chasing a bird or something at first, but then is the reason she fell because Guts got like super overprotected and was like, oh shit, I need to help her, and then she got scared of him, which is what caused her to keep moving away.
I think so.
Okay.
I kind of think she was scared of him, and that was not helping in a way. Although I don't know that she was in a good spot anyway, because it was risky, but maybe she would have been okay. It's hard to say.
Okay.
But yeah, the catalyst seemed to be like him reaching out and trying to get her, and she can't interpret his intent or whatever. And there's reason to be scared a bit. I think you get that kind of weird dark haze come over his vision already at this point. You know, like he's staring at her, and then there's like a clouded vision.
I couldn't tell what that was.
I'm assuming it's the Berserker thing, you know, like that evil wolf thing. That's what I'm assuming. Just because we commune with that thing later, and it reiterates like, I'm gonna eat everybody you care about or whatever. So.
And it kind of hates her also. So like
it seems to a little bit maybe. Or I think because it's the thing holding Guts back from just tapping all the way in and going after Griffith, you know, and just satiating the bloodlust or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like the chains keeping that under control, I guess, is what we'll be seeing later.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But okay, so yeah, she falls in the water, he dives in to save her, but his arm cannon isn't helping.
It's too heavy. Yeah.
It's not helping him grab her, and it's not helping like swimming wise, right? So he's just starting to sink despite pulling her up to the surface. And then he's just underwater kind of reflecting on like how that Casca, whenever she's near water, there's always trouble.
He's dying, right? Like that's his life flashing before his eyes is what's happening.
Is Casca memories, yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, actually, yeah, like the beginning of this volume, like there's kind of little like here, setting the stage thing. I was like, oh, okay, so this is going to be a boat ride with like a bunch of flashbacks. Is what I was expecting, you know?
So all of these have had the like setting the stage and like just in case you don't remember these characters thing at the beginning. I wanted to point out, because I actually read it again this time. I've been ignoring them for the last few.
Yeah, last couple I was like, this looks the same. I don't see any new characters or anything. But this one had Ganishka in it with like a sentence.
So that's why I kind of reread all of them. Can I take a moment to say I find it hilarious that Guts's like description is he's constantly in a battle between protecting Casca and like fighting Griffith. And then it says his struggle is nothing short of sublime, and I thought that was hilarious.
It does say that. Tooting your own horn a bit, maybe, I don't know.
Also, it says that Griffith like is now the absolute and the unbeatable or something, and it made me wonder, is like, oh, maybe Griffith is actually just like the force that Guts will never actually overcome and literally cannot, that he has to like be okay with letting go of to help Casca. Maybe that's what Griffith actually is.
Oh, okay. It's just a thing. But then, like, would you just let the world be taken by Griffith?
I get.
I guess we can ponder that.
Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, it's a little weird because we'll mull that over later. Yeah. But okay, so yeah, Guts passes out, wakes up on the ship. Oh, what happened? Where's Casca? It's like, oh, Roderick saved you. She's fine.
She's bathing with Farnese because those two are always naked together now. That's all they do.
And this is where like Farnese's kind of jealousy about the ghost like eavesdropping thing kind of comes in. I thought Casca was just horsing around, like she just splashes Farnese, and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun, and it just triggers Farnese. Yeah. She gets so mad. So yeah.
Yeah, this part was hard to... It was weird. It was like watching a dog get kicked or something. Like, there was something about this part that was just like, ooh.
Yeah.
It got real.
Yeah, it's pretty mean. She just dumps a bunch of, like, anger at her. Just like, why does he care about you? You're so useless. Like, you don't even understand what's happening. He's always getting hurt to protect you. Like, there's kind of just a lot of bitterness being thrown around. And then Casca sort of responds to the emotions because she doesn't say anything. She kind of pauses, and then she puts a bucket on her head, which, you know, I think is symbolic. No, I don't know. She doesn't seem as like dopey or whatever in this moment. She kind of responds a little bit.
It seemed like a remorseful action or whatever, which is
sure. Like,
weird.
I'm gonna hide. I'm sorry for making you upset. Like, I don't understand what just happened, but you're clearly really upset. Because Farnese is like crying and stuff. She falls to her knees.
It's a bad scene, honestly. Like, nothing happy about that for sure.
Yeah.
I really like the moment that Guts wakes up and he's just like, oh right, my arm is actually only used as an extra weapon. It's not an arm.
I kind of thought he might have lost it here because of the weight thing. Like, I was like, oh, did they have to detach it to save him? And then it's like, oh no, it's on the couch back here or whatever.
Right.
Like, oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
I guess he's just like, Roderick's just really good at swimming or something. But yeah, he does kind of mull over his arm and its usefulness and how it isn't all that.
Yeah.
Like, he says something about like, oh, you can replace the thing, but it's not the original or something.
Yeah.
I guess there's also just, he's covered in all these like weird burns, I guess from the electricity was kind of what happened.
Electrical burns.
Scarring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess it's so bad we find out, I think later actually, that he can't perspire. So like he's
I don't know if it fused his like sweat glands closed for a bit or something. He's having trouble.
So his like, I guess like when he's sick or whatever, there's literally no natural way his body can like remove the toxins from him anymore right now.
It's no good. Yeah, it's not good. He's got to heal up, I guess.
It's really bad.
Get some of that dust. But
yeah.
Okay. This is also where like Shirka has her kind of interior thought, because she has to repaint the talisman that Flora had given him. I guess the water and all this kind of washed it off. Which I guess if maybe Guts wasn't bathing at all, or he was just covering it when he did. I don't know. in previous weeks and months or whatever since getting the talisman.
Yeah. I feel like was there a scene where like the talisman was like not attacked? Wasn't there like a scene where like Ganishka or something was like actually doing something to like remove it? I think there was something a long time ago.
I don't remember. Like I know you'd get shots of like the brand bleeding and stuff.
Yeah.
But maybe that had kind of toned down since the talisman.
The talisman I don't think was meant to last forever either, so it makes sense that she would have to redo it at some point.
Right, and I guess it's different. Like this is her own design. She has spectacles on and she's kind of painting it. And this is when she's like thinking about when she was on his back in the ethereal realm and just
and
how
their
strong
souls
his
became
muscles
one.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then she almost gets flustered and has to leave. Like she's like, I'm gonna go make some medicine. Yeah.
I don't like it at all. Like I get
Valera is kind of making fun of her for that.
I also don't like that. That like she makes it worse. The elves make it like just bring it out a little creepier.
Just doing that Kramer thing of just saying it. It's like, come on, just be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, she leaves. She does actually start making a poultice or something. Like she's working on something else.
Yeah.
But okay.
Pirate attack is what happens.
Just before that, there was a moment I kind of misinterpreted, but then it turned out to be the case anyway. Roderick calls Serpico Windmaster, and then I was like, oh, I wonder if his wind power the ship. Like he could use it to blow wind into the sails or something. But that doesn't come up now at all. Like it does later. Yeah. So it's kind of cool, but in the moment I was just like, Windmaster? Oh, I bet he's helping. And it's like, no, he just doesn't use his name. It's like, it's Serpico actually. And then they kind of, then they get attacked by pirates. You're right. And it's not just any pirates. It's the pirates that have already been established.
Yeah.
Which that's storytelling, baby. There used to be slavers, which was a totally legitimate profession in this world. But because they lost all those kids or whatever, they're back to pirating.
I love how this goes, by the way, where like they're still kind of on the level. And they're like saying, we see a bunch of ships out there. And then like as soon as they noticed we were looking at them or whatever, they started flying our colors. So who are they? Merchants or something? And then we like cut to them and they're just like saying something about like, that's a naval warship or whatever. We could get a hefty ransom if we were to take it. There's 3 of us. And they're like, it's literally just like the scene of, you're right, hoist the colors, boys. We're pirates again. Yeehaw. It's like, all right.
I think it says me mateys or whatever. Like
me
it's
mateys.
Very piratey. Yeah. I think Roderick, though, he kind of susses out like, that's super weird. Battle stations, you know, like
right
he
away.
doesn't trust this thing at all. Yeah. But yeah, there's kind of weird like first mate captain banter of just like, no, I don't know, that seems dangerous, and it's like, no, there's 3 of us, we can do it.
Like it makes
and then
no
it
sense.
Immediately tilts the wrong way.
It makes no sense. The reason this is here is Mira wanted to have a sea battle. And there was no way you could do it otherwise, really.
I guess, like, going into this volume, I was like, oh, we'll just kind of skip over the sea voyage. I don't know why I thought that. It's like, oh, we're just in Elfhelm now. It's like, no, there's got to be stuff that happens. Yeah. So I was kind of up for a Navy battle, though. We haven't had that. You know, it's kind of not like the medieval battle last time where it's like, I feel like this has kind of happened.
Roderick needed his chance to shine. He hasn't had
to show off his thing. And he actually has a thing where like the party wants to help and he's like, hey, you guys bailed me out like so many times on land, at least leave the sea to me.
Yeah.
And then
like, this is my domain. And like it's actually kind of dope. He's like bargaining the commands or whatever and they seem to just like absolutely destroy these 3 ships like it's fucking nothing. It's pretty great, honestly.
Yeah. You have the pirates on the receiving end kind of saying, oh my gosh, those cannons have so much range and they're such good shots this is crazy. Like, the sea louse is already taking water. Oh, no.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
They even do the, like, oh, but he made a fatal mistake. He's downwind from us or whatever. It's like, hi, you fool. You don't always need to be upwind because now I have the advantage. It's like, yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. It's like they're narrating ship tactics. It's like a Sid Meier's Pirates tutorial or something.
Totally.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But it's fun, shooting cannons, like angling for better shots and whatever. It definitely brought back Sid Meier's Pirates memories, I guess, was this kind of stuff.
It's pretty cool. We get a moment, too, where I think the pirates are like, wait, could this be the ship or whatever that, like, took on 5 of the... What the hell was... Midland?
I think it was enemy
the Tudor
warships.
Army. Yeah, this is the ship that took on 5 Tudor, like, army warships and, like, survived or something. Like, yeah, apparently there's legend of this ship, too, because of course there is.
No, they notice, like, oh, no, it's the Seahorse and the Prince of the Seas or whatever, like, Roderick.
Yeah.
We're boned. Like, it was, it was bad. We don't really get, like, to peer in on the other 2 ships, but they get smoked real bad, and then the main one is kind of trapped between them and can't see through the smoke and fire of the other 2 ships. So they're just shooting blindly, and it goes bad for them. At some point during all this, they say, like, bout the ship or whatever, and then Puck makes a dumb sumo joke and looks like a Rikishi for a second. Because sumo bout, He's got the hair and everything. So just had to call it out because, this is secretly a sumo podcast.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Secretly.
Yeah. So they easily dispatch these 3 ships. They leave the captain and his people to sail away.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, whatever. We don't want a bunch of brigands as prisoners, like, near my fiance or whatever. Like, Roderick has some gentlemanly way of saying, it's fine.
Yeah.
And then they just leave. So... then it's party time. Everybody's drinking rum. I'm pretty sure Isidro gets wasted. Like, he's just kind of amongst the partying pirates with, like, red cheeks. And I was like, oh, he had something.
That's true. I guess Isidro actually stayed to watch the fight up there because the rest of the
he stayed above
gone.
deck. Everybody else, like, hid in the hold.
Yeah.
And Guts is kind of going through some, like, tough healing stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess, we could just talk about, like, the dream he has during this part, right? Because it's kind of right after he goes into this fugue or whatever and is having this strange, like, encounter with the wolf berserk demon thing.
Yeah, he's having some inner monologue or discussion with, I guess not even discussion, the thing's talking at him. We see the, like, wolf kind of chained up or whatever. A bunch of chains on him anyways, and he's saying how, like, you're not gonna be able to fight me forever, and, like, like, save them, fight for them, love them more, because when it's all gone, it'll just make me more powerful or whatever.
Yeah,
it's like,
it'll make the loss hurt that much more, kind of thing.
It's rough.
And it's kind of like as soon as you use the armor, like, you unleashed me or whatever. Like, it's only a matter of time or something. Like, he's kind of being really taunting, and then, as from a nightmare in a movie or something, like, Guts wakes up and goes, whoa, and, like, sits up. I'm like, whoa, hey, you got to keep resting, dude. You're not in good shape.
Yeah.
And, and then Isidro comes and reports on the sea battle extremely loudly because his ears got blown out by all the cannon fire.
You're right. I forgot about that. You're right. He's yelling.
He can't hear how loud he's talking, so he's just screaming at them like that Will Ferrell character or whatever. Remember comedy legend Will Ferrell? He's going to be in a movie where he's a dog, so get ready for that.
Fantastic.
Anyway.
Okay, so something happened now that I misread and had to go back to be like, wait a minute. There's, like, another fairy that shows up here or something, right?
No, I don't think so.
So I thought it was Puck dressing up, but I couldn't tell what the fuck was going on here. Puck and Ivandra, or whatever the fuck her name is, are, like, dancing and hanging out with the not the pirates, the crew, and then we get, like, this other little fairy dude that's going to steal an apple from a barrel and overhears some plan to overthrow the Elf King.
No, this is Puck. I was just looking this up. I meant to look this up before and get a firmer handle on it. Okay. So everybody's kind of drunk, and Puck is like, "Oh, you know what? I need some dessert. I'm gonna have an apple." And he goes inside an apple barrel, and then Magnifico kind of hatches this scheme. He's talking to Roderick. It's just like, "Wait, we're going to the Kingdom of the Fairies? I have a great idea. We should capture all the fairies and sell them to nobles for money.
We should conquer the island." Yeah,
he's literally cackling, and then opens the barrel, and it's a super weird panel. Like it's some sort of in joke that I did not understand. But Puck is there with like insane looking hair, like he almost looks like Link in like Link to the Past or something.
That's exactly what I thought too. Yes,
and it's like. I had just wrote down, like, what is that? Like, eavesdropping hair? What is this? And then there's a note that's like, apologies to the director, Mr. Dazaki. And I just looked it up. Like, it's Osamu Dazaki is like an animator. So I have to assume this is like riffing on his style. I'm not sure why. Maybe he famously has a fairy character or something. But it's a tip of the hat to another creator.
But it's
just Puck. Yeah.
So this is why it's weird, because yes, he has that face and that hair and looks completely different. Also, he has a disguise on top of that. So even when he goes away, he doesn't turn back into normal Puck. He's still weird ass looking Link Puck. And so I don't understand what is going on.
I think he kind of turns into Chestnut Puck and sits on Magnifico's head as like a king. At the end of this scene,
he does sit on his head as a king. That's true.
He gets kind of wooed back by Magnifico, be like, "Wait a minute, if you get in on this scheme, like you could be crowned king of the fairies." And I don't know if Puck is just kind of entertaining this for a bit to get more intel, but I don't think he's going to betray the entire fairy kingdom.
That would be weird. Yeah.
Yeah. I will say I did enjoy how like excited the sailors were watching the two fairies dance. I thought that was pretty fun. They're just like, "Oh, this is awesome!" Like they're blitzed out of their mind.
I mean, they're right. Also, it's pretty
awesome. Yeah, it's pretty great. But yeah, they're like twirling around, and then all this weird Link Puck stuff happens. I don't know. We'll have to watch some Dazeki anime to know what's going on with that.
I guess so.
But okay. Oh, okay. And then we kind of cut to a totally different scene, right? This is Laban. Is this character? He's like a knight.
Something like that. Yeah, he's the one that recognized Guts, I think, at the City of Monsters back a long time ago.
Right. Kind of part of the nobles that had been encountered before. Like Foss, I guess, is the main guy. I remember the bald guy. Yes. That Griffith like intensely stared at that one time.
But we're back in Old Yarnum, basically. Like, we're in the Bloodborne City.
Oh, man, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and actually some really great, like, Bloodborne-esque stuff is going to go down with this, like, killer fog.
Yeah.
Like, it was this, and another scene that happens was just putting me in, like, a John Carpenter-y kind of vibe with some of this stuff.
Sure.
Which I like. I really like it when it merges with horror, like, takes medieval stuff and crams, like, weird horror stuff into it.
This volume is fantastic for it. And obviously, like, the Lovecraftian Cthulhu vibes.
Oh, my God. What a crazy thing at the end of this thing, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. So it's kind of the Wyndham or whatever, the city that's kind of preparing for this crazy thing that's going to happen. Right. A group of the Children of the Damned, like 7 kids, had a dream, like a prophetic dream about this crazy fog that's going to come tonight. I was also getting like weird biblical, like angel of death, Passover vibes from some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we grew up with like that sort of thing. So if you didn't, there's a whole story you should look up around April.
Sure. Or watch a really long Charlton Heston movie. It has that happen in it. Yeah. So you got to paint that. You don't have to paint blood on your door in this one. You just have to seal your door and not go out at night because it's the night of the hunt or whatever. It's like, it's serious business.
Yeah.
Or the fog, like in John Carpenter's The Fog.
Or the mist.
The mist, but with less bugs, I guess. But something crazy is going to happen where like it's like magical mad science is going to go down tonight. Like kind of the beyond or whatever, like from beyond kind of stuff is happening.
There's some crazy shit for sure.
Yeah. But that's the other side of it. Like the thing that people are preparing for is like, okay, everybody stay inside. And then we're going to evacuate the city after. Like we'll kind of tack that on to this crazy thing tonight. Like I'm pretty sure the people will be down to just leave the city.
Yeah, because they're all having the dreams again. And the dream prophesizes that on the night where you can't see the moon, the fog will go away and like the monsters will go with it or something. There's like a prophecy that they all were told in their dreams. So they're kind of preparing. Yeah. They're like, I don't know why. I think this is going to happen. Get everybody in the town that you can prepared for this thing that's going to happen.
Yeah, this was kind of like stuff I might be barking up the wrong stuff with all of this, but like I was trying to relate this to my suppositions about Griffith's plan or whatever last time. Where it's like I think he's just trying to clear the stage so there's no witnesses for what's going to go down. You know, like he's trying to get everybody that matters to win, like Midland out of here so he can have a crazy monster battle with Ganishka and it won't screw up the whole thing. But maybe I'm wrong. It feels like he might be able to make this prophetic dream appear, like because he's the hawk in the dreams, right?
I also wonder if part of it is I need to like not let Ganishka get more powerful by taking these souls as well. Like if I could get 100,000 out of 500,000 people out, I need to do that.
Yeah, I gotta cast something on this guy to kind of lower his level limit just a bit.
Yeah,
keep him within range or something. I don't know, because what Ganishka has realized is like his meeting we were talking about where he was like trembling in fear at the mere presence of Griffith. It's just like, oh man, I gotta power up. Like I am not powerful enough to deal with this. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna like go through that weird like uterus thing we made, like that abomination machine that they've been using to make all the like Panishka or whatever, like the weird monster human hybrids or whatever.
Yeah.
I need to like suck up tons of power and go through that thing. It's almost like that wizard in Warcraft, like the orc guy, you know?
Gul'dan.
Like he was like sucking life force out of other stuff to power up, right?
To open the portal, primarily. Yeah.
But yeah, this is like a mega version of that is about to go down, like Akira type.
Drinking Manaroth's blood. We can talk Warcraft if you want.
I just like that movie. I still think it was pretty good.
Yo, I kind of like that movie too. I was a big proponent of it, and people were not like people in the Warcraft
like everyone's
community.
saying like, oh, the age of great video game movies is now. It's like, dude, whatever. I was
have they
Warcraft.
seen Dennis Hopper as Bowser? Obviously, they haven't.
30 years ago, got good.
That movie was bad because it was.
I still think it's really funny though.
It's just bad because it's nonsensical. Like it doesn't tie together at all for any reason. But whatever.
Yeah.
It's still kind of fun. So I mean, we should just talk about when the fog comes in, because that's really the next big thing. There's a bunch of like them talking. I guess isn't there like a cut to like Griffith talking with his people about like something? There's a part in the middle that doesn't matter, but you're right. It kind of starts with Ganishka being like, this is fucked. I'm like, it's going bad. I need to do something drastic. And the drastic thing he does is essentially do the sacrifice thing to become a superpowered acolyte of some sort. And his sacrifice is literally all of his creations in the area.
He says he has to transcend apostlehood, and Daiba or whatever, like his wizard guy, is kind of like imploring him to do something a little less drastic, but it's like, no, it's all or nothing, dude. You weren't there. This guy's too much.
Yeah.
And then he's sort of talking about how like the thing they made is kind of like a man-made Behelit. So it's sort of equivalent, but like kind of twisted and weird, like man-made corruption or something. It seems abnormal even in this realm, you know? Like, this is some weird mad science kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fog starts going out and just like evaporating all the tiger beasts and crocodile men and soldiers.
There's one great part where one of the soldiers gets like hit first, and his buddy's like, "Hey, what's happening to your face or something?"
Yeah, and he's like sort of still conscious, but with no like skin on his skull.
He has like a skull with like eyeballs in it or whatever, like some weird Evil Dead 2 cover. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's like a weird little zombie joke or deadite joke or something. And then I was like, oh wait, are they going to become like zombies? And it's like, no, all their flesh and bone is going to be absorbed into the thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's just all these empty suits of armor everywhere, like the rapture happened or something.
Yeah.
But they all get sucked into this thing, and yeah. I guess before we start seeing it emerge, like what Ganeshka has turned into, we kind of have like the people in the city trying to escape. It's very biblical. They call it the Exodus. It's basically like all these prisoners and all the like people that were captured by the Kushan are trying to just escape the city before it goes down. And Laban and his Knights of Arkham, it's not, but it's very similar.
Well, they're the ones that had the prophecy to stay in their houses, so they're okay until after the fog is done. That's when they come out to round up.
Right, and there's a term I want to allude to that the kids bring up. They talk about like this giant darkness is going to come, and then the hawk is the light that breaks the darkness and awakens the true dawn, which seems like it's a term we're going to see. Like, in fact, this was kind of felt to me like
end, right? The end of like this arc into the next one probably is.
Yeah, this suddenly started becoming like such a major event. It was like, okay, like we had the eclipse, we had that echo of the eclipse. Now it's the true dawn. Like this is like a big thing we're building towards now.
Right.
Like prophecies and all the rest of it, right? This is huge scale stuff starting to percolate here. But yeah, going through the city, they find this like weird grill full of like white stuff, and when I was reading it, I was like, what the hell is that? Some sort of bone marrow door?
And I thought it was like, body parts. Yeah,
I thought it was like what Ganeshka turned into, starting to like bleed out into the building or something. And it's just like, what? No, it's just all the women that were captured used their clothes to cover the grill so they wouldn't get infected by the fog. And it's like, oh, okay. Weird excuse to have like 50 naked women in here, but okay.
Hey,
it's
any
Mira.
Excuse is a good one. So
yeah, he had to figure it out. But whatever, they saved these ladies.
Brutally raped by trolls,
molested or anything. They're just in there. It's fine.
Yeah.
And hey, they weren't like melted into flesh goo for this thing, so great. I guess they had the dream too. That they kind of knew this was going to go down.
That's why they're there though, right? Because they're in like a prison. They're in the holding cell for this thing, and they're like freeing just tons of women that
I think these are like the women that were being thrown into that uterus thing
after they were impregnated by a demon or something. Yeah,
this was kind of the fuel for the monster machine or whatever.
Yes.
So it's this packed to the walls prison that they now have to like escape, and it's just like, oh no, there's so many people now. This is getting unwieldy. Oh wait, we have all these empty suits of armor here. I know, we'll sneak out undercover, Yeah. Which is nice. This was kind of neat.
I thought so at first I was just like, oh right, because the women need clothes. That makes sense. But no, it's because the only people that of this Kushan army that are gone are the monsters that took over the city. The Kushan Empire is still here. They're outside the doors, and I guess I didn't realize
some
that.
dudes were killed, but I think there's also just there's hundreds of thousands of people in the area, and a bunch of them weren't sucked into this thing or whatever.
There's a full like army everywhere outside. Yeah, still.
Yeah, so there's like a gigantic stealth mission that needs to happen.
I didn't realize that reading this.
Thousands of undercover people need to sneak out of there somehow. So at least they have the disguises. Like it's working out that way. They put on all this armor.
Yeah.
But then they get to the gates, and a guy starts speaking in Kushan, just like, "Hey, where's this unit going? Like, what are your orders?" And they're just like, "Oh shit, it's gonna we're blown, and then a guy rides up speaking the right language and says like, here's the orders, and it's one of the like Hawk espionage unit or something. It's
his
like
name
one of the
is
guys,
Jarif or something.
Jarif, yeah, that's right. He was kind of one of the guys earlier that they were saying like, oh, you don't take war slaves, huh? It's like, no, that's dumb. We just kind of try to incorporate everybody into the Hawk ethos or whatever, true cult style. So everybody's welcome. Right. Yeah, so it works out in this case, but then the Bakaraka clan, like that kind of assassin dude and his
Silent
like
and his
heavies,
crew. Yeah.
They show up to perhaps blow the whistle on this whole thing, and then there's like a weird exchange of kind of, like which side are you gonna go with? Like, you could join us, you could join the Hawk. It's pretty cool over here. Your emperor's pretty crazy, and then they kind of sit in the middle on this. Like, they kind of wait and see with this one.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting because we get some of their insight of, like, the Bakaraka clan has, like, survived this long by not really taking a side, but by siding with the strongest at the time. So, like, we're just going to chill and see who survives this, essentially. It seems to be their
kind of
thing.
fence sitters. It's a little weird, but given the odd situation where it's like, well, sure, Ganishka's really evil, but we know Griffith's profoundly evil too, so maybe this will work out long term. I don't know if this means the Bakarakas are going to join the Guts crew. I don't know. The door's open, right?
There was something interesting in this conversation where Jarif was saying, like, there is the, like, you've seen and probably felt, like, the presence of the Hawk or whatever. There is an indisputable change that's going to happen, and a new world is coming that nobody even knows what's going to happen. But, like, we know, I think they use the word inscrutable, like, our side is, like, the winner or whatever. And there was kind of an interesting moment where Silet's like, is it, like, so is it just right to yield to the inscrutable? Like, is it just the right thing to just, like, give up and go with the right answer or whatever? I was just like, oh, maybe he's gonna like actually go with Guts at some point.
Yeah, this kind of seemed to leave the door open for that to happen.
Yeah,
where it's just like, I see.
Is it
like
right
the only
to side
righteous
with
struggle.
Fascists? Like,
yeah, good questions to ask. So yeah, Silent, I guess, kind of gets a little more dimension here. But either way, they're like, we can't capture like thousands of people anyway, so we'll just back off from this and leave it. Yeah. So yes, they kind of step back to see how this plays out. And then Laban and like meets up with Owen, and they have a full on like Predator, like arm bash.
You son of a bitch. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. But then we see what's up with Ganishka. Like, he just starts spilling out all over the place from this thing, and wow.
I love it because, like, after the aftermath, so this whole time Daiba like put a force field around himself or whatever to not die, because he was around Ground Zero. He was in the palace or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, this is kind of the moment of like, everything's calm, too calm, and Daiba's like walking around like looking, just like, Emperor, like,
Your Majesty,
like, what? Yeah. There's this like this great full image of the doors cracking open, and it's just a bunch of faces melted together and eyes and shit, and it's like, oh no.
Yeah, like we've seen a lot of the main features of Ganishka's face because of his cloud form and everything, so you kind of see the same like beard and nose and stuff, but just repeated everywhere.
Yeah, with
way too many eyes, and like they're all speaking in unison, kind of like,
I love it.
We've achieved it. Like, it's like they're all saying it. It's like, oh, this would be so messed up, like audio wise.
Oh, I would love it. Yeah, where there's just like 20 tracks in like Daiba or whatever, different tones kind of overlapping each other.
Yeah, it's very eldritchy. Like this thing is just crazy.
Oh, I love
and
it.
Gigantic. Like like hands start emerging, and initially I was like, oh, is it the god hand? And it's like, no, it's his hands. He has so many huge tendrily hands that are just ripping castles apart as they emerge from the ground or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a gigantic flesh thing. And he's marveling at it, too, because he was kind of wind-powered before, and he's like, this is a real hand, this is bone and flesh, and he's, like, rising up. So he's powered up. I don't know how wieldy it is. Like, it's his first time being a evil god or whatever he is. Hell itself, I think someone calls it at one point.
He's become hell itself is something somebody calls it. There's an image that kind of, like, shows what's going on, where it shows in the like very bottom of it, like close to us, Griffith and his army, and like literally across the distance, as far as like you would be able to see in real life, there's a giant tower of tendrils taking over the whole sky. It's just like
there's some great like Austin Powers business with like everybody kind of looking without you seeing it, where it's just like, oh, and there's like shadows over thousands of people. Every major apostle from the army is kind of looking and going like, oh, what is that? What is that? What is that? And then we see the reverse shot or whatever, where it's just this massive tower thing with tendrils coming out of it, and gigantic like elephant feet, sort of like huge circle feet that he starts just stepping on thousands of people at a time and starts saying really creepy stuff.
Like, the pretty red flowers or something. Yeah.
Oh, they've turned into flowers. And it's like, it's weird, dude. That's screwed up. But yeah, he just squished a bunch of people. And stage is set for some crazy giant battling. I was definitely with one little kid in like the Hawk or something army. He's just like, awesome giant monster. And he's like pumping his fists. I was like, yeah, that kid's right. There's some real cool stuff that's going to go down.
Oh, it's so exciting. There's like a cut to them on the ship and like everything.
You start feeling the vibes. It's like
everything's kind of normal until they're just like, wait, something immense is happening sort of thing.
It feels like the world's ending or something. Like there's a lot of like, like a sudden tremor in the force kind of stuff. Like Shirka knows something happened.
You're right. They do say something about like the world. It feels like the world is like tearing or something.
Tearing apart, yeah.
Somebody else says something like, oh, that's it. That's the beast that like tears reason away from the world or like ends the reason of the world.
Ends reason. I think it's Sonya might say that, right?
So, yeah. It's someone in Griffith's army, so probably.
Yeah. I think the scene you were talking about earlier where they're like riding with Griffith, the only moment I remember from that is her kind of wrapping his cape around her head and being like, I'm playing Kushan. And it's like, what? What are you doing?
That's cultural appropriation, and she's canceled for it. So
no, but I think she's just fuming at the Charlotte thing. Because they were talking to the Pope about like, oh, I shall wed you and all this. And she's sitting there nearby just being like, oh, that she's just upset about it. So her defense mechanism is humor, I guess.
Yeah.
Or cultural appropriation. So rude, but that's.
As a fan of cosmic horror and like Cthulhu-esque type things, Lovecraftian shit, I love, first of all, like the look of this thing and kind of what it is, but I love even more that everybody refers to it as the thing that ends reason in the world or the great calamity and stuff. Is like, oh, you're saying all of my words. I love it.
Yeah, because I guess last volume I was worried, like, with how weak Ganishka felt. And I was like, I don't know how much of a fight this is going to be. Like, Griffith clearly has the upper hand here. But now at least it's like, okay, we got a contender anyway. This thing's
become
crazy.
like he's become close to, probably as close as you could get to the god hand at this point.
Sure.
He is a god of some sort.
Yeah, he's used demented means to become weird and gigantic, so at least it's a battle worthy of chronicling in the next volumes. So, yeah.
It got me excited, like really excited for more.
Yeah, no, this one was exciting. Like, I felt the last volume was kind of necessary stage setting.
Yeah.
This is like, also stage setting, I guess, but it's like right before. Like it's like the red carpet's out for some crazy business. So yeah, the anticipation is higher than kind of plot necessities that happened last time. So hooray. Yeah. Volume 33 is pretty good.
I made a note here that we didn't discuss. They're like trying to fish with a behelit, I think, at some point.
Oh yeah. They're trying to fish with cheese, the fairies are, and they're like, man, that didn't work. What else do we got here? And then there's like a weird joke with the behelit.
They tie it up like they're gonna use it to fish, right?
Use it for fishing, and it at least brings it out into the open so they can see that it's doing stuff. It's like, oh, weird. It's like contorting and stuff. What's going on? And that's kind of your like ripple in the water, like Jurassic Park thing.
Yeah.
Of just like, oh, something bad's happening. Like this thing's responding to something, and then it's like, oh yeah, it's that giant column of flesh over there. We're gonna have to deal with that, I guess. Yeah. So, yeah. But yes, you're right. Behelit gets some time in this one. I kind of forgot they had one. So, a little reminder.
Yeah.
And then Puck's making weird jokes. It's just like, I'm going to sacrifice a Valera to get powered up. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, that's just kind of horsing around.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't joke about that. It's too real.
Don't even say that. It's a little, it's dicey. Who knows how these things work? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, there you go. And that I guess that's the beat it ends on. Everybody kind of staring in horror, and then it's like, oh, and that's it.
Yeah. So the next, let me just double check this. I'm pretty sure the next volume is the one where we're going to read volume 34, and then the single chapter that ends the arc of 35 in one.
Okay. Yeah, I've been waiting for this to come up, but this one felt like, no, clearly nothing has concluded yet. We're right at the verge, though. This is like climax for this arc.
For sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah, okay. This was cool, though. I like that Roderick kind of got a moment before he tragically probably gets ripped to shreds from things he cannot possibly fight against.
No. Him and Farnese are going to be happy together. It's going to be great. They actually have a little moment where they're up in the crow's nest and have a little conversation about how she still feels useless and stuff. It's like, no, you're helping. You're looking after Casca. And that allows everybody to focus on their thing. So
there's a good moment there where he says something like, he entrusts to you the most important thing in his life so he can be him. Like, that's pretty fucking important. It's like, yeah, I guess so. Okay.
But he has a moment where it's like, is that the right thing to say? Because
yeah, that's super stressful.
I'm saying like, or something. But she's okay with it. Yeah, they have a little moment.
They have a moment.
So
that's good.
Yeah. But more of that next time. If you want to email some queries or feedback, I guess, it's ihavegoneberserk@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Sumo predictions. No, I think we'd be well into it.
We're about a week in by the time you hear this, yeah.
Pretty fun show, though, hey? How about
Dude,
Waka Motoharu? He's fighting and doing great.
Yeah,
his brother's not, though. Yeah.
Too bad Shodai broke his leg and will never fight again. That's really weird.
Day 6 was so sad. Anyway, let's. I guess that's it for this one. We're still on the ship, though, so we can still say thanks for joining us on the good ship. Seahorse, I guess. We know its name now. But until next time, I'm Nathan.
And I'm Paul.
Ding, ding. Right?
Motherfucker.
No.